D&D Consulting was founded by me, Mauro Dimi, in 1990. It is a leader company in the sustainable enhancement of managed wetlands, in Italian Valle di Pesca within the UNESCO-listed Venetian Lagoon. With a strong commitment to environmental stewardship and innovative solutions, the company specializes in unlocking the ecological, cultural, and economic potential of these unique habitats while preserving their delicate balance. D% Consulting combines decades of expertise with cutting-edge methodologies to address the challenges of the human-controlled wetland management. This video answers common questions about the Venetian Wetland CCS program.
Welcome to our tech training session. Human-controlled wetlands, or in Italian Valle di Pesca, they are more than just engineered ecosystems. These human-controlled wetlands are mainly located inside the Venetian Lagoon in northern Italy. These are powerful tools in our action against the climate change. These carefully managed wetlands mimic the natural processes of their wild counterparts, providing habitats for biodiversity, improving water quality, and most importantly, capturing and storing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. In this training, we will explore the fascinating process of carbon capture in the sediments, learning how these ecosystems help us against the climate change. I'm Francis. I collaborate with Mauro D&D Consulting to study how the Italian human-controlled wetlands capture and store carbon. When discussing during control audits or scientific meetings, many questions come up due to limited knowledge about these unique Italian environments. Many questions get answered during guided on-site visits, but two persist. The first is, why do carbon capture results change yearly? And the second is, how does the sediment of a Valle di Pesca capture so much carbon dioxide? This training webinar aims to address these questions. Human-controlled wetlands exhibit both intraspecific and interspecific diversity shaped by their unique histories, ages, types of control, and management practices. These wetlands often encompass a wide range of habitats and species, each contributing uniquely to the ecological tapestry of the area. Local climatic conditions also play a significant role in influencing their ecosystems, which in turn impacts their capacity for carbon capture and storage. The interplay between these climatic variables and the wetland's natural processes is complex and dynamic. Variations in temperature, precipitation, and other climatic factors can alter vegetation, microbial activity, and water dynamics, thus affecting the overall efficiency of these particular wetlands as carbon sinks. With each shift in climate, the balance within these ecosystems is tested, influencing their potential to sequester carbon. The use of NASA's MODIS satellite enables rapid and effective detection of year-to-year variations in ecosystem dynamics. One of its key tools is the Enhanced Vegetation Index, EVI. It is crucial for studying entire ecosystems as it provides detailed information on vegetation health, structure, and productivity. EVI is particularly valuable due to its sensitivity to dense vegetation and its ability to minimize atmospheric and soil background effects, offering a clearer picture of ecosystem conditions. For this reason, EVI is used as a preliminary verification tool to assess the state of the Valle di Pesca, serving as a baseline for monitoring and management efforts. In the graph, you can see how a change in 3 different located HC wetlands in North Italy and how also it changed year by year. Changes in the Enhanced Vegetation Index, EVI, can directly influence the algal biomass present in an ecosystem. A decrease in EVI often indicates reduced vegetation health or coverage, which can lead to higher nutrient runoff into water bodies, promoting algal blooms. Conversely, an increase in EVI typically reflects healthier vegetation that can better retain nutrients in the soil, potentially limiting algal growth. Thus, variations in EVI serve as an important indicator of ecological changes that affect algal biomass and the overall balance of aquatic ecosystems. Our biologists verify this during field analysis each season. variations in algae are significant both in their spatial distribution across the Valle da Pesca and in their density per square meter during the summer. These factors influence the ecological balance of the wetland, affecting nutrient cycling, oxygen levels, and the habitat available for other organisms. Understanding the patterns of algal arrangement and density is essential for assessing the health and functionality of the ecosystem and the carbon capture. When we refer to algae, we are talking about a diverse and complex mixture that includes green algae such as Chaetomorpha, Valonia, and Ulva lactuga. These types of algae can often be found thriving in aquatic environments. Alongside these green algae, we also include brown algae like Polysiphonia, which adds another layer of diversity to this mixture. Furthermore, aquatic plants like Zoostera, which anchor their roots down to 1 meter into the sediment, are also part of this fascinating combination. Together, these organisms form a vibrant and essential part of the aquatic ecosystem. In fact, during the summer months, their total biomass can reach impressive levels, sometimes reaching up to 25 to 30 kilograms per square meter. This accumulation of biomass represents not only a significant ecological carbon capture component, but also a vital resource for various forms of marine life that depend on algae for sustenance and habitat. How do we work? First, the D&D consulting biologists locate algae areas using the Copernicus browser. This helps to understand seasonal and geographic changes. Next, they collect algae samples in situ within a square meter. Finally, all collected algae are weighed and data is recorded for that area. The range can vary greatly from 0 to 30 kilograms per square meter. Now we can get the answer to the first question. These wonderful Italian wetland-controlled ecosystems, known as Valle da Pesca, can produce a large underwater biomass during the summer. Sometimes, this biomass is over 20 kilograms per square meter. Sometimes, it's 0 or a bit more, and this greatly changes how carbon dioxide is captured for storage. The second question is, why is carbon storage in human-controlled wetland sediments so effective? The Italian human-controlled wetlands are peatlands that are unique ecosystems characterized by the accumulation of organic matter in waterlogged conditions. One of the most interesting features of the Valle da Pesca peatlands is that they are extraordinary carbon sinks. They store more carbon per unit area than any other type of ecosystem. This carbon is sequestered in the form of peat, which is partially decayed organic matter accumulated over hundreds or thousands of years. The waterlogged conditions slow down the decomposition of plant material, which leads to the buildup of peat and the sequestration of carbon. The importance of the human-controlled wetlands in carbon sequestration cannot be overstated. They hold approximately gigatons of carbon, more than all the carbon stored in the world's forests combined. When these peatlands are drained or degraded, the stored carbon is released into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide and methane, both potent greenhouse gases. Based on that fact alone, human-controlled wetlands play a massive role in mitigating climate change, which is why it's essential to protect and restore them. The process of carbon storage in wetland sediments is far more complex than just the presence of algae. It's the result of a finely tuned interplay of factors working together. As the follow animation illustrates, this includes the decomposition of organic material, the activity of specialized microbes, the deposition of fine mineral particles, and the distinct hydrological conditions unique to wetlands. Each component plays a critical role, combining to create an ecosystem capable of locking away carbon for centuries. It's a fascinating and dynamic system, showcasing the intricate mechanisms that drive one of nature's most effective carbon storage solutions. Carbon dioxide enters the aquatic ecosystem when the pH is above 8, combining with salt water to form bicarbonate ions. In this picture, you can explore how the carbon chain interacts within a human-controlled wetland environment. The carbon enters primarily through the atmosphere, where it is absorbed, and also via erosion of the coastal lagoon, driven by the persistent action of the wind. This carbon entry facilitates the production of both phytoplankton and zooplankton, which are crucial for sustaining the ecosystem. Following this, the production of dissolved organic carbon (DOC) and dissolved inorganic carbon (DIC) takes place. These dissolved forms of carbon are essential nutrients, eagerly utilized by the growing algae biomass. As we trace the carbon journey to its conclusion, we find that when phytoplankton, zooplankton, and algae eventually perish, the organic and inorganic carbon residues are deposited into the sediment. It is within this sediment that a fascinating microbial action begins, breaking down the carbon and continuing the cycle of storage into the Valley da Pesca ecosystem. The carbon stored in wetland sediments is not merely the mathematical sum of the carbon contributed by algae in the ecosystem, as some people think. It is the result of a complex biological process involving a wide network of organisms. This process is shaped by the interactions between primary producers such as algae and phytoplankton, along with bacteria, detritivores, and other microorganisms that transform, degrade, and reassemble organic carbon into more stable forms. As illustrated in the accompanying diagram, sedimentary carbon emerges from the dynamic interplay of biological, chemical, and physical cycles, reflecting the collective contributions of various components within the trophic network. Their entire process is tied to the seasons. Without this approach, we cannot understand how the carbon storage occurs. Imagine being in a human-controlled wetland at the end of winter. Strong wind activity generates waves that cause significant erosion of the salt marsh. As a result, a large amount of organic material is released into the water. In spring, the increased concentration of nutrients in the water leads to the development of phytoplankton blooms, which in turn support the growth of organisms that feed on them, such as copepods, rotifers, and numerous filter-feeding mollusks. In summer, the warm temperatures and increased sunlight create ideal conditions for the growth of macroalgae and aquatic plants. This growth is further supported by the higher availability of dissolved organic carbon (DOC) in the water, which serves as an important resource for these organisms. DOC provides energy and nutrients that fuel the metabolic processes of algae and plants, allowing them to thrive and play a crucial role in the aquatic Valley da Pesca ecosystem by storage carbon and serving as food and habitat for other species. During the chilly winter season, the human-controlled wetlands, like the other peatlands, play a crucial role in the natural carbon cycle. Organic materials, like fallen leaves, moss, and plant debris, root, died fishes, crustacean and mollusk rich in carbon, get buried under layers of sediment in these waterlogged areas, creating layers of peat. As these materials settle deeper into the soil, they begin to decompose. However, in the deep layer, where there is an oxygen-poor environment, the decomposition process slows dramatically. This creates ideal conditions for carbon compounds to be trapped and stored, sometimes for thousands of years. The Italian Valle da Pesca, like peatlands in particular, are among the Earth's most efficient carbon vaults, containing more stored carbon than all the world's forests combined, and they play a vital role in regulating the planet's climate. In controlled wetlands, a distinct stratification of layers develops due to variations in oxygen availability and sediment characteristics. The top layer, ranging from 0 to 30 centimeters, is the annual layer, where oxygen is present. This layer supports active microbial processes and decomposing biomass. Generally is composed by clay and colloidal sediment. Below it lies the peat layer, between 30 and 60 centimeters deep, which is characterized by a lack of oxygen and the presence of hydrogen sulfide, H2S, giving it a distinct chemical profile. Beneath the peat layer is the mineralized clay-based layer, starting at 60 centimeters and extending deeper. This layer contains pockets of methane, CH4, produced by anaerobic processes. The thickness of these layers, particularly the oxygenated surface layer, depends on three key factors: the amount of decomposing biomass, the density and composition of the sediment, and the permeability of oxygen through the sediment layers. These factors collectively shape the stratification, influencing the wetland's ecological and chemical dynamics. D&D examines by satellite how heterotrophic activity affects sediment carbon storage. We conduct fieldwork to find out the depth of the PET layer. First, we need to test the soil permeability by inserting a steel probe into the ground. Second, a biologist collects a mud sample with a corer from the top 30 centimeters layer. Third, a specialized laboratory analyzes the mud sample for density and total organic carbon data. We will use also MODIS satellite to check the soil moisture active-passive SMAP heterotrophic respiration. This displays mod-derived global daily heterotrophic respiration in grams of carbon uptake per meter squared per day to monitor the area's activity during sampling. By combining all this information, we can estimate the depth of the New Year's PET layer. It must not exceed 30 centimeters to meet international standards. The deepest point for diagenesis is usually 30 centimeters. We can now answer to the question. The human-controlled wetland improves oxygen levels in the top sediment, boosting carbon breakdown. With the right amount of algae and lighter sediment, a 30 centimeters peat layer can form. Carbon stored in underwater sediment mud and heterotrophic respiration can absorb 2.6 to 3.0 grams of carbon per square meter daily. This is worth more than forestry and other CCS systems.
Thank you, Francis, for your response to these important questions. Many certification body auditors are unaware of how this wonderful ecosystem works. The Valley de Pesca are a crucial and unique ecosystem that we must preserve for future generations, and this is the D&D mission.
Thanks, Mauro. It is an honor to work with you, and I hope that sharing scientific information with the community will support your goals.
In conclusion, the study of marine biology, combined with advanced technology, is essential for preserving the delicate balance of worldwide coastal ecosystems. These areas, included the Italian Valley de Pesca, play a vital role in carbon capture and storage, acting as natural barriers against climate change. By deepening our understanding and applying innovative tools, we can ensure the sustainability of these habitats, protect their biodiversity, and harness their potential as critical allies in mitigating the global carbon crisis. Together, science and technology pave the way for a future where marine ecosystems thrive, benefiting both nature and humanity. Thanks for your attention.